Take the mark, or you will have nothing. I will not.
For nearly 2,000 years, humanity has feared three numbers, 666, a number so infamous that people avoid it on license plates, phone numbers, hotel rooms, and even receipts. Some believe it represents evil itself, others believe it points to a coming world leader. And for decades, many Christians warned that someday the world would enter a system where people could no longer buy, sell, travel, or survive without permission from a centralized power. At one time, people laughed at the idea, but today, we live in a world of facial recognition, digital banking, biometric scans, artificial intelligence, implantable technology, and suddenly what once sounded impossible no longer feels so impossible. But what did the Bible actually mean when it warned about the mark of the beast? Was Revelation talking about an ancient Roman emperor, a future global system, or both? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and debated prophecies in all of Scripture, the mark of the beast. The prophecy comes from Revelation chapter 13. The Apostle John describes a terrifying beast system rising to power over the earth, a kingdom demanding worship, control, submission. And then comes one of the most chilling verses in the Bible. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand and on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except for one who has the mark. Then John writes, "This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, 666. Notice something important. John says calculate. That word changes everything, because ancient readers would have immediately recognized something modern audiences often miss. John may have been using an ancient cryptic code. In the ancient world, letters also carried numerical value. This practice was called Gematria. Names could literally become numbers, and many biblical scholars believe the name hidden inside 666 was none other than the Roman Emperor Nero. Nero was infamous for brutality. After the Great Fire of Rome, many historians say Nero blamed Christians for the disaster. Believers were tortured, burned alive, executed publicly. To the early church, Nero represented monstrous evil and corrupt empire. And when Neron Caesar is written in Hebrew and the letters are added together, the value equals 666. To many historians, this was likely John's hidden message to persecuted Christians living under Rome. But here's where the mystery deepens, because even if Nero was part of the prophecy, many Christians believe Revelation also points to something far beyond ancient Rome. Think about the world now. Phones track locations. Banks are becoming fully digital. Some countries are already experimenting with cashless systems, and technology once considered science fiction is now real. There are already implantable chips capable of storing information, unlocking doors, verifying identity, making payments, and companies are developing systems connecting identity directly to technology. Then there's the rise of the biometric systems, fingerprints, eye scans, facial recognition, digital wallets. For the first time in human history, the infrastructure exists for a system where buying and selling could theoretically be controlled globally. That's why many believers today wonder, was Revelation only talking about Nero, or was Nero merely a shadow of a future beast system still to come? Revelation specifically mentions the right hand and forehead. For centuries, people debated whether this was symbolic or literal. Some scholars point to the Old Testament. In Deuteronomy, God told Israel to bind his commandments to their hands and foreheads symbolically, meaning thoughts, actions, and alliance. But others believe Revelation could carry both symbolic and physical meanings, especially in a technological age where devices can literally interface with the body. Elon Musk's company Neuralink is developing a brain-computer interface technology. Right now, its primal goal is medical treatment. But many people see these advancements and can't help but wonder how far humanity will eventually go. Because once technology merges with identity, commerce, and control, the line between convenience and dependency becomes very thin. Here's the part many people miss. The mark of the beast is not presented in Scripture as merely technology. It is tied to worship, submission, Alliance. The beast system is Revelation demands loyalty in exchange for participation in society. That's what made it terrifying. Not simply a mark, but what the mark represents. A world where people trade truth for security, conviction for comfort, faith for survival. And honestly, that may be why this prophecy feels more relevant now than it ever did before. Because modern society increasingly pressure people to conform, to follow systems blindly, to surrender privacy, identity, and sometimes even beliefs for access and convenience. And while nobody can say with certainty exactly how Revelation will fully unfold, the world is undeniably moving towards the kind of technology capable that earlier generations could barely imagine. Maybe the beast was never only one man. Maybe Nero was simply the first major shadow of it, a prototype, a glimpse of what happens when government, power, control, worship, and fear merge together. Because throughout history, the spirit of the beast has appeared again and again. In tyrants and empires and regimes demanding absolute obedience, and Revelation warns that one final system may someday untie those elements on a global scale. A system so persuasive, so powerful, so convenient that most of the world embrace it willingly. For centuries, people mocked the idea that humanity can never enter a system controlling all buying and selling. Today, that possibility no longer sounds impossible. Does that mean current technology is definitely the mark of the beast? No one knows for certain. But what makes Revelation so chilling is not merely the technology, it's the warning behind it, a warning about power, control, worship, and the slow surrender of human souls to systems that oppose God. And maybe that's why John ended the prophecy with these words. This calls for wisdom, not panic, wisdom. Because sometimes the greatest deception doesn't arrive while looking evil. Sometimes it arrives looking convenient. Bye.